guys, I'm back with another 10 metal bands you haven't heard but should. This one was going to be a bit sooner, but I just got a bit delayed. But anyway, let's get right into it. We've got a couple of old school bits to start out with. Going back to some 90s death metal. Right off the bat, we have Corpus Rottus, which is a great name for a band. Sadly, a no longer active band that I discovered on Ken's Death Metal Crypt, which of course I've mentioned before. Definitely check out that channel if you're not already familiar. Really good, gross, like kind of proto-brutal death metal, and when I say that I don't mean kind of slammy stuff, like coarse stuff, I just mean gross kind of, you can definitely see where a lot of the heavier kind of grosser sounding death metal bands got that sound from, and Corpus Rottus were there in the beginning and definitely worth checking out, as are Cenotaph from Mexico. I've been on a massive Mexican death metal kick, you know, when you sort of listen to a few bands, and then end up going down kind of a rabbit hole with it. I've been doing that a lot, and I've remembered how great Cenotaph are, who I haven't listened to in about a year till recently. They went a bit more melodic, but this album, The Gloomy Reflections of Our Hidden Sorrows, actually, just let me check, that was Hammer Heart Records, the first one, and this one is Chaos Records, just for anyone interested. This version also comes with the two 7-inches as well, for anyone who cares. I think they're really cool, especially Tenebrous Apparitions. Yeah, Apparitions. Yeah, Cenotaph, really cool, kind of gross, slightly doomy, just slow death metal in the kind of autopsy, cyanide kind of region. Bands like Disma probably took some inspiration sonically, maybe from, I mean, I don't know Disma personally, but that kind of sound, Undergang, I can imagine, definitely took some inspiration here, or if not, from bands like them. But yeah, Cenotaph, really good Mexican death metal essential. Next we have some Black-Thrash from Ragehammer. Now, this is a really cool album that was sent to me by Vicious Witch, who, you know, are becoming a regular part of this channel, which is awesome. In fact, I've got some exciting non-YouTube related news coming up with Vicious Witch, so keep an eye out on either my Instagram or his for that. I don't really know when, but yeah, Vicious Witch, really cool UK distro and label, which is something we'll be talking about in upcoming videos, I'm sure. But anyway, sent me this killer CD, Into Certain Death by Ragehammer. I believe this is their last album. They have another album, and I can't remember which order they're in, but they're both really good. I checked out both. Just killer, kind of very Niflheim-y, kind of thrashy, black metal, that kind of first wave kind of sounds really good. I think they're from Poland off the top of my head, but I'm really sorry if I got that wrong and they happen to be watching. Killer band, though. Definitely check them out. Next, we have some more Black-Thrash from the complete, well, I guess not the other side of the world, just further east, is Evil from Japan. This is their last album, Possessed by Evil, released earlier this year on Nuclear War Now, who happen to have relocated to Dallas, I believe it was, in Texas. Not that that's anywhere near me, but if any of you watching are from Texas and want to go and visit what looks to be a fucking awesome record shop for an awesome label, then definitely do so. But yeah, Evil's new album with this cool, like, O-card, which is has the kind of printed obi strip on it, and it is in Japanese as well as English. Or was it the lyrics that are in Japanese, maybe? I'm just being an idiot here. But anyway, what matters is this is killer, just thrashing, old school madness, sort of when that late 80s turning into the 90s, when extreme metal really kind of came into its own. This thing is just killer. Great album. Doesn't feel like a new album, but it feels like a fresh album. And now we have another one from Japan, because not to do with that, but I've recently did a trade with Obliteration Records in Japan for some Garden of Ice stuff, so keep an eye out over there if you're in Japan. They'll be having Garden of Ice stuff, which is great. This is Retch, one of the CDs I got. The other ones were Sabbath and Coffins, which I think are a bit too big or have been talked about on here for this series, but Retch is a new band. I'd never heard them before, but it just drew me in, and what you get here is definitely nice mix of black death and thrash with maybe some punk in the sound. It's got some kind of Celtic frosty moments, but then it kind of then goes quite bestial and almost like Beherit-y with those kind of stompy drums. This thing's just really extreme, and it kind of goes in every direction, but it doesn't feel directionless, which is really interesting. And because it's Japanese, there's that kind of level of self-discipline, and it feels really well executed. It doesn't feel like corners have been cut. The sound is really good, and it's just a really kind of abrasive but enjoyable listen. So yeah, definitely check out Retch. Next we have another real oldie. Now with some of these I wasn't sure whether to put in the kind of 10 out of 10 albums or this series, because they sort of walk the line of being old and semi well known, but also obscure-ish, but I don't know. This band I don't think is too obscure for this, but is Quartz. I think they're obscure enough. I don't think they're a band that like every single metalhead probably has a Quartz record. Maybe they should. This is the Satan's Serenade maxi, so on the A side is Satan's Serenade and Bloody Fall, which are just two killer new wave of British heavy metal tracks, and then a sort of guitar solo jam thingy on the B side. I've forgotten what they called it. It's something to do with Beethoven, but yeah, really cool maxi single. I really like Quartz. In fact, I discovered this band a few years back from Sabbath covering Satan's Serenade, like Japanese Sabbath or Sabbat, however you say that. But it was a bonus track on one of the Nuclear War Now tape reissues, and yeah, really cool song. Checked out Quartz, really cool, and yeah, managed to snag one of these for like a few pounds, so really cheap and really good record. It's got a bit of a beaten upness going on here, but you know, it's an old record, who cares, it sounds good. Now for a new old heavy metal band, which again, that's the other rabbit hole I've been going down with, is finding I think original heavy metal, along with Black and Death, obviously, has always been one of my favourite sounds, and there's always been the classics for me, but I've been going down a real rabbit hole of discovering less well-known 80s bands, and also a lot of bands doing cool stuff that sounds like that, as you probably noticed from some of the bands I've talked about on here. But this is a very new one, which is called Tyrann. The title is Swedish, and I always fuck up Swedish, which is semi-surprising, but it's a language I've always struggled with. But I think you would say that Sjövelen's music. Apology for any Swedes if I have really butchered that, but I know the way that's written, I think they often say it's a ch sound. But anyway, I'm really sorry if I got that wrong. But yeah, Tyrann, which is Swedish for tyrant, that bit I do know. And the title meaning devil's music, which is probably pretty obvious. Great, just old school heavy metal in the vein of Accept and those kinds of German bands, where it started getting a bit power metal-y, almost, I don't want to say pop because that conjures horrible images for the headbanger, but I mean tracks like Brinn med mig, which is Burn With Me, and Undergång, which is Downfall, and the band's own song Tyrann. You want to sing along to them, as well as the one English titled one, well, that and Sodom. But don't make fashion of our heavy metal passion, which is something the band pretty much proclaim relentlessly on social media, and a message I can definitely get behind. These are diehard guys, members from Enforcer and Tribulation. These are serious musicians just doing something for the love of heavy metal. That's something I can get behind, and will tie back into what I was talking about with Vicious Witch. Look at me being good at being elusive. And next we have some good death metal, because oh yeah, we started with death metal. You can tell I don't script these things, but fuck it. Funeral Whore. So thanks to Will from Dawning Septic Productions for sending me this. I'm hopefully going to have some more bits on the way from him to talk about, because it's a really cool label over in Canada. Funeral Whore play old school, dirty fucking death metal. Think definitely some Swedish influence, but it's not fully sat in the Swedeth camp. There's still a lot of kind of gore-gutsy riffs, like at least the early kind of less technical ones. Some kind of morbid angel-y bits, some Hate Eternal. Like there's sort of some almost technical riffing, but that doesn't feel like technical death, if you get me. But yeah, it's just really dirty, grisly, intense death metal. This thing slays. It's a really good album, and I think tons of you out there will appreciate that, but might not know it yet. And then we're going to get on to some more even filthier death metal from right here in the UK, Sewer Fiend. Now, I think this is a duo. It is indeed. It's Sam on vocals and guitars, John from Slime Lord and Cryptic Shift. Hi, John, if you're watching. And who's playing drums? I think it's a session. David is on drums. I think he's a session drummer on this one. Anyway, Sewer Fiend play. You can kind of tell by the art, that kind of drippy, cavernous death metal. What impressed me most about this release was how textured it was, because a lot of stuff in that field, which for better or for worse, I think often it can benefit the music too. But it's very simple. There's not much in kind of dynamics, but there's some, you know, really kind of those boomy drums. But there's a lot of those kind of very clean guitar sounds, which is interesting. So a lot of bands in that field, I'm guiltier of it than probably most, just crank up the gain and get that really kind of crusty tone. But especially with the HM2 bands, again, pointing fingers at myself here. But Sewer Fiend do that thing, Spectral Voice do, of having those really clean, like almost ethereal lead guitars, which give it this really dynamic, otherworldly feel. So yeah, this is really good. Definitely worth a check out. Another proud moment for the UK scene. And now, to get onto some Swedish style death metal. That hair flick was unintentional, but fucking majestic, so I'm keeping that in. Not that I know how to edit. Helslave, back from the Sulphur Depths. And that's a really convenient title to segue into it. Pulverized Records put this out, consistent death metal label, of course. We've talked about their releases a whole bunch. The next video is going to have Pulverized in, so stick around for that, whenever that may be. But yeah, Helslave, great Swedish style death metal from Italy, I believe. I'm basing that on the fact that the guys from Everlasting Spew were talking to me about that, so I'm pretty sure they're Italian. But yeah, Helslave, killer Swedish style death metal. It's got those kind of doomy bits, it's got those D beats, it's got the blast beats, it's got everything you'd want. It may not have anything more than that, but it does what it does so damn well. I really like this release. And it's got really cool cover art, obviously. Us headbangers are an aesthetically egotistical bunch, and we like things that look cool, and this definitely does. But more importantly, and almost exclusively importantly, it sounds great, and definitely Swedish death fans, check that one out. And that has been 10 metal bands you haven't heard but should. I seem to have a whole bunch of energy, so for once I have some charisma. I hope you guys enjoyed the video and come back for future heavy metal discoveries, be it on this series or one of my various other ones. Social media, all that bullshit's in the description if you want to follow whatever stuff I happen to be doing in life, which is collecting, making, and listening to heavy metal pretty much exclusively. And yeah, if you want to check out, I've got a fanzine, my webzine, stuff like that. I probably don't really plug that stuff much on here, but any of that kind of, if you want to check stuff out or listen to my bands or whatnot, I do appreciate it. I just don't plug it because I don't really like to talk about what I'm doing so much on this channel, because I'm talking about what all these cool people and labels are doing. So, until next time, stay metal.